Achyutha, a very important and interesting name used by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. It has been used 3 times, in the first chapter, in the 11th chapter and in the 18th chapter. So why is this name so unique? What is the importance of the name Achyutha? We learned that it starts with the alphabet A. Aksharanam akarosmi. Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says that among all the alphabets, I am the alphabet A. So, Achyutha starts with the alphabet A, therefore it is very important. Also, Akaraha Vishnuvachakaha, which means that Akara, the alphabet A, denotes Lord Vishnu himself. Therefore, Akshara A is very important. Now, if you observe, the name Achyutha does not just start with the alphabet A, it also ends with the alphabet A. So, it starts with A and ends with A. Achyutha, right? Therefore, we can say that the Lord Krishna as Achyutha is there both in the starting and ending because Akaraha Vishnuvachakaha. So, it starts with the alphabet of Vishnu, ends with the alphabet of Vishnu. Therefore, the word Achyutha, the name Achyutha is extremely important. Now, Achyutha has a lot more things in it. The very first chapter we saw that Achyutha denoted Lord Krishna as a friend of Arjuna, where Arjuna says, go and park the Ratha in between the 2 armies, right? So, there Arjuna commands Krishna, who was Achyutha, to obey his orders. Therefore, Ratam Stapaya Achyutha. Now, in the 11th chapter, we saw that Arjuna is overwhelmed by seeing the Vishwarupa Darshana of Lord Krishna. Therefore, he apologizes for the way he is treated Lord Krishna. So, he says that, just because I thought you to be my friend, I had called you as Hey Krishna, Hey Yadava, Hey Sakhe, but you are in reality Achyutha. So, please forgive me if I have behaved with you in a very different manner. Because usually it is said that whenever we have elders with us, we should never boast about ourselves. We should never say that, look, I am such a great person or anything like that. But without knowing the greatness of Lord Krishna, in so many occasions, Arjuna has told to Krishna, hey, look at me, man, I can do all these things, and, boasted about himself to Krishna. So now he realizes, oh my God, this Krishna is an embodiment of all possible powers that I can think of. Now, even without realizing that, I had been telling about myself to Krishna. How bad is this? Therefore, he realizes that he apologizes to Lord Krishna. Now, in the 18th chapter, let's see what the sloka says. Arjuna vacha nashto moha smritir labdha tvat prasadhan maya achyuta stitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. This is the 73rd sloka of the 18th chapter. This is basically the final sloka which Arjuna uses in Bhagavad Gita. And amazingly, this has the name Achyutha. Now, Arjuna here says that Nashto moho smritir labdaha. All my moha is gone, my confusions are gone, my delusions are gone. Smritir labdaha, my knowledge is back to me again. Now my knowledge is clear, I've got it back. I'm back to my senses. Tvat prasadat maya achyuta, all this is because of your divine grace, O Achyuta. Stitosmi gata sandehaha. Now because all my doubts have been clear, I am ready, I am standing up ready to fight. Remember earlier he said, Gandibam Shamshade Hastat. Even my own bow, the great Gandiba, seems to just move off from my hand, it seems to fall off from my hand. But here he says that, Stitosmi gata sandeha, I am standing erect because all my confusions are gone. And finally he says, Karishye vachanam tava. I will do whatever you ask me to do. I will go by your instructions. So this is the 18th chapter, 73rd sloka. Now if you see, an amazing pattern actually evolves here. This is the final sloka from Arjuna's mouth where he uses the name Achyuta. The very first sloka used by Arjuna was the first chapter, 21st sloka, where he used the word Achyuta. So now Achyuta has been used 3 times. The very first chapter, the very first sloka used by Arjuna, in fact the very first name used by Arjuna on Lord Krishna inside Bhagavad Gita is Achyutha. Now you will get confused like, but we learned that the very first name used in Bhagavad Gita was Madhava, is that right? Yes, but Madhava was used by Sanjaya. Sanjaya used it in the 14th sloka of the first chapter. But Arjuna was not in any sloka at that point of time. The very first sloka used by Arjuna is the 21st sloka in the first chapter, and the name Arjuna uses there is Achyutha. So from Arjuna's mouth, the first Krishna's name is Achyutha. Again, the very last name from Arjuna's mouth inside Bhagavad Gita, in the very last chapter, the 73rd sloka, is Achyutha. And the only other time Arjuna uses this name, Achyutha, is while seeing the Vishwarupa Darshanam. So this name is there in the starting, it's there in the middle, it's there in the end. And in all these three different times, it has three different meanings. The very first chapter, he commands Krishna saying, Ratam Stapaya Achyutha. So park the Ratha in between the two armies. So it's a command from Arjuna. Krishna just obeys the command, goes there and parks the chariot. In the 11th chapter, seeing the Vishwarupa Darshanam, he says, Aha, you are Achyutha. I had called you with so many different names, but because you are Achyutha, you will never move out from whatever role you've taken. So here Achyutha, he actually refers to God who can never be deteriorated from the position that he takes. Now in the final sloka, Achyutha, this is used in the context of na chavayati iti achyutaha, which means that you will never let your devotees slip from their path of dharma, because here Lord Krishna has made sure that Arjuna follows the dharmic path. He fights for the war because it is Arjuna's duty. So here, na chavayati iti achyutaha. You made sure that as a devotee, I do not slip from the role that I have taken. So here, Achyuta's connotation is totally different. So the chain, the word is Achyuta, but different meanings in different circumstances, which gives a very nice experience when we understand the word. Again, Lord Krishna plays 4 different roles in the entire Bhagavad Gita. As we've already seen, he is a friend to Arjuna. That is why he is even accepted the role as a charioteer of Arjuna. Now, the first is a friend, the second is the Sarathi. Now, Arjuna is the Rathi, Krishna is the Sarathi. The third is the God, the Vishwarupa Darshanam, which was shown. Actually, Arjuna could see God in the place wherever they were, in the war field. So, Krishna was God himself in the battlefield. And the very important role that Krishna played was as a Gita-charyan. He did the Gita Upadesam, so he was an Acharya, he was a Guru, which was a very important role in the entire Bhagavad Gita. So 4 roles are played. Now it is extremely interesting to note that the word Achyuta covers all these 4 roles. In the starting, as a friend, as a charioteer, in the first chapter, 21st sloka. In the 11th chapter, because Arjuna sees the Vishwarupa Darshana, the God, the role is covered there. Now in this chapter, the sloka that we just saw, Nashto Moho Smritir Labdha, Arjuna's mind is now really clear because of the Gitopatesam done by his Acharya, who is Achyuta. Therefore he says, Karishye Vachanam Tava, whatever you've instructed, I will go by your orders. So there, Lord Krishna is Achyuta, who is the Gitacharya or the Guru of Arjuna. So all the 4 roles are covered by the word Achyuta. Another very interesting analysis here is, whenever we want to achieve something, there is a means and there is a result. Now, the means will be one thing and the result we gain is another thing. But as far as the name Achyuta goes and the Gitopadesa and Lord Krishna goes, the means and the end seems to be the same. Now, Achyuta was the means because Arjuna addressed Lord Krishna as Achyuta, and what did Achyuta do? He went, he parked the chariot and between the 2 armies, he told the entire Gitopadesa, and all this was as Achyutha, who is the means, because only with the Gitopadesa Arjuna is going to get the knowledge. And with all the knowledge, what did he do? He surrendered to Achyutha himself, and he apologized to Achyutha himself in the 11th chapter, right? He says that Saketi Matva. Therefore, you are Achyutha. So, my apologies, in case I have done any mistake, please forgive me. And finally, he says that Nashto Moho Smritir Labda. Now, my mind is very clear. I will do whatever you ask me to do. And what is the result again? It is Achyuta's words. So, his entire means was Achyutha, who guided him in the right direction. And what is the result? Result is the clear knowledge, which is again got because of Achyutha. And what is he going to do? He is going to obey Achyuta's orders. Why? Because he has realized that he is just an instrument in the hands of Achyutha. Achyutha is doing the whole thing, because while he saw the Vishwarupam, Arjuna actually realized that Krishna has decided what is the result of the war. I am just an instrument in the hands of Krishna. So, because Achyutha here is the God also, and he is the ultimate destination, the Upayam and the Upayam both are Lord Krishna in this context, and all this is covered in the word Achyutha. Now, whenever there is a name of Lord Krishna, this name could mean his Paratvam. By Paratvam, we mean the Lord, the Lordship of the God. We learned that Shad Vikara Rahitaha, right? So, God does not get engrossed in the 6 qualities which we as humans usually get into. The birth, growth, life, the decay, diseases, death. All these 6 transformations does not happen to Achyutha, because he is beyond all this. So, he is not into all this. Therefore, he is Achyutha. There we see the Paratvam of the Lord. In the Vishwarupa Darshanam, we see the Paratvam of the Lord. The ultimate, God is the ultimate. We can realize that in the Paratvam. Now, the Saulabhyam basically means that easy accessibility. In spite of being the Lord, our Krishna, drove even the chariot of Arjuna. So, he is easily accessible to us. Any questions that Arjuna had, Krishna was there to clear it for him. So, he is easily available to him. So, this quality is called Saulabhyam. And in the previous episode, we saw the word Sausiliam. The quality called Sausiliam is, in spite of being such a big person, he makes himself be the same as us. He is amongst us. He makes us feel that he is amongst us, so that we take liberties with him. This quality is called Sausiliam, where he treats us equally with him. All these 3 lovely qualities of Paratvam, Saulabhyam, Sausiliam can be seen in Achyutha. So, that is again a greatness of the word Achyutha. Because of all these things, our Acharyas, Alvars, everybody enjoys singing the praises of Achyutha. Adi Shankara has written a Achyutashtakam, where he says, Achyudam Keshavam Ramanarayanam Krishna Damodaram Vasudevam Hare. It is a very popular hymn which is sung, which is 8 paragraphs actually. Swami Sri Vedanta Deshikan has written Achyuta Shayayam, which is in a unique language called Prakrit. Prakrit is a colloquial Sanskritam which was used earlier without much of grammar rules in it. It was basically used by children or women in a casual manner. Because Swami Vedanta Deshika looked at himself as a lady who is devoted to the Lord, he uses the Prakrit language in order to write the Achyuta Shayayam. The very first word he uses in this is called Namata, which is very surprising, because usually Swami Vedanta Deshika's slokas start with a praise of the deity he is singing about, or about him surrendering to the deity. But here he instructs all of us to show our salutations, prostrate to Achyuta. That's why he uses the word Namata. All of you, please do your namaskarams to Achyuta. So, which says that Achyuta is going to help you, because he is Nata Satyan, he is Kinkara Satyan, he is Dasa Satyan. He will definitely live by the truth, the vow that he is taken to protect all of you. So, remember to fall at his feet. Therefore, he uses Namata. In one of the slokas in Achyuta Shataka, which has 101 slokas, Swami Deshika says, he can protect all of you sitting from wherever he is. He does not have to come to earth to protect you. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. That is why God comes here, to protect his devotees and make sure he gets rid of all the adharmic things. But why should God come here and take an avatar? It is because by seeing him do whatever he does, all of us will start incorporating a lot of things in our life. So we will live the way God demonstrates to us, because he lives by example. Here again, if we notice, Achyuta demonstrated a lot of things so that we can incorporate it. When Arjuna commanded him, go and park the chariot, Krishna need not have done it, but he did it. And over a period of time, if you notice in this sloka, he made Arjuna obey Krishna's orders. Earlier, Krishna obeyed Arjuna's orders. And in this sloka, he makes Arjuna obey his orders. So the transformation happens, and that is because Krishna leads by example. So because Krishna does all this, he is always a Sakshi Bhutam for us. He is always residing in our heart as Antaryami, right? So he never sleeps. Because he never sleeps, whatever work we do, we should always remember that there is this Lord who is noticing us all the time, the Antaryami God. And because this Antaryami never sleeps, there is a beautiful song which was authored by Annamacharya on Tirupati Balaji. Jo Achyutananda, Jo Jo Mukunda, Jo Jo. Here, Annamacharya Swami actually sings a lullaby to the Lord of Tirumala, Balaji, where he says, oh God, you never seem to sleep, so please sleep. Because if you notice in Tirupati, the Lord hardly gets time to sleep. He sleeps, really late at night, and after the screens are closed, just half an hour time, he is again woken up with the Suprabhata Seva. Similarly, our Antaryami hardly sleeps. He is not able to sleep at all, because he is always observing us. Even when we think we are sleeping, the Antaryami God is always observing us. Therefore, he never gets to sleep. So with that wonderful bhava, Annamacharya says, oh, please sleep. And he uses the very first word as Achyuta, Jo Achyuta, Ananta Mukunda. But he starts with Achyuta, saying that as Achyuta, as Antaryami, you don't get to sleep at all. Now, with all this learning, what are we to implement? Number one, because the Lord is our Antaryami, we should remember that we don't need appreciation, acknowledgement from anybody else when we do our duties properly. Because Antaryami is watching us, that is of paramount importance to us. Whether people appreciate us, whether they acknowledge us, when we do some work for a long period of time, when nobody acknowledges, appreciates, we feel down, right? We feel depressed, we feel demotivated. But remember, Antaryami is always there. He keeps looking at you. So you don't need to have this kind of acknowledgement from anybody outside. That's number one. Number two is Lord Krishna led by example. He obeyed Arjuna's orders, and over a period of time made Arjuna obey whatever he instructed. Therefore, we should remember to lead people by example, because nobody is going to do what we ask them to do. We have to do in order to make them do. If you ask a child, don't sit here, do this, do that, the child won't do. But when you do it, when they see you repeatedly doing it, children automatically start doing. If you go do your prayers every day, you will be surprised children start doing their prayers. Instead, if you just tell them, go do your prayers, no child will actually do it. So it is very important for us to lead by example. And the third important thing is, Swami Deshika has instructed us by starting his Achyuta Shayam with Namata, right? Which means that we should remember to offer our salutations to Achyuta. Because Arjuna himself said, hey, I have addressed you as Krishna, my apologies. So is using the word Krishna wrong? It basically means what is our intention when we use the word Krishna. We see in so many movies the name Govinda is abused, right? So in what context do we use the word becomes very important. So instead of giving all that a room of thought, what we have to actually do is we have to make sure that we use it in the right tone with the right intention, and that can be taken care if we use the word Namaha at the end of the name that we use. For example, Achyutha is there. We can say Achyutaya Namaha, which means my salutations to Achyutha. Now we learned the word Madhava, so we can say Madhavaya Namaha. We learned Rishikesa, Rishikeshaya Namaha, which means my salutations to Achyutha, my salutations to Madhava, my salutations to Rishikesa. In which case, we can never go wrong because our intentions are very clear that we are offering our pranams, our namaskaras, our salutations to the Lord. So we should always remember that we are subservient to the Lord, and as per the instruction of Swami Vedanta Deshika, we have to offer our pranams to Lord Achyutha. Therefore, let's recite Lord Krishna's names and be blessed.
Madhava Achyuta Krishna Hare Rishikesha Kesava Govinda Vasudeva Bagavan Janardana